Alright, so this video I'm going to show you how to use for loop. Okay. Now, before that, let's review while again, right? So, let's say I want to write an application to print out number 1 to 10 using while. We know that while we need to initialize the starting point, your counter, which is it already start with 0. But I actually want to print 1 to 10, then I just change to 1 then. And do the statement. Instead of say hello, I just want to print the number count, right? It's going to print 1 because count equals to 1, 1 less than 10, print 1. And increment my 1. But when it gets to 10, it will not print 10 because 10 less than 10, then I have to do less than equals. So when it equals to 10, it's going to print 1 to 10. Right, so we need to initialize the starting point, which is number 1, and set up your expressions to make sure that it's going to do the true statement, which is less than equals to 10. So it's going to do true statement, which is print 1, and make sure that you make your expression approaching to false, otherwise it's going to loop forever by incrementing your count. So it's going to print 2 and so on. So let's run this. It's just print number 1 to 10. Okay, so it should be this simple. Which, like I said, while and for pretty much doing the same work, but different syntax. So let's look at the syntax of for. For, same inside the parentheses, and do the statement inside the curly braces, right? So this is do true statements, right? Same things, like this is your expressions. Okay, what is for? Now, good thing about for is instead of initializing the values like that on the top before, you can just initialize inside the parentheses. So you just say initial, right? And then separate by semicolon. And then you have your expressions. Same, separate by semicolon. And instead of make expression approaching to false inside the loop, you can just put in the parentheses, inside parentheses, right? Alright, so let me call increment, right? To false by increment, right? We always increment, right? So I'm going to say increment. It's not always have to be by increment. It can be by changing the values. Okay, like by change the counter values, right? The expression, right? I'm going to just say change values because it's not doesn't have to be by increment. It can be like, for example, I want the user to read in input until I hit 0 to terminate. So that doesn't mean increment. It just say it's keep reading until the key is not 0. It's keep reading when 0 is terminates by changing the value. Right. So this is for syntax. Same, right? Initialize expressions and change the values, but it just put in this inside one parenthesis instead of doing in the top, inside, and then it just exit after it's done, right? So now let's write the application to print out number 1 to 10 with for. I'm going to create a new class I'm going to call for demo. we're going to pretty much just use this, like your pseudocode here. I'm going to say for, right? For initialize, pretty much the same, int, right? You can name anything, like this one we name count. I can say I is because it's just a variables, right? I can say I equals to zeros. And then you're going to do expressions, which is I less than 10. Actually, I want to do 1 to 10, so I start I equals to 1, print number 1 to 10, I less than equals to 10, and separate by semicolon. Change your I plus by increment in this case, right? And then, now, the curly braces here is not required again. Just like when we talk about if else. Okay, I'm going to print my I here, right? Instead of count. This curly brace is not required. And it applies the same concept as if else. It's only going to do this once while it's true. Okay? That you may see in the test too that it could be tricky. That's why put curly braces is the best thing. So it's print 1 to 10. Now when I said it's tricky, let me show you. Like if I say system.out.print line more, and then I want to say I. See, I cannot print that I anymore. Because it's not part of this, it's just like a new statement. And they no longer know what is I. And this is the scope of your variables. This I only valid inside the loop. Inside the loop, pretty much just this. Outside the loop, I don't know what's I. You have to declare the I again to use. So, if your intention is you want to print this again, make sure you have the curly braces, then it's no. Alright. Like that. Alright, so good practice, always put your curly braces, but it can be omitted. Now in the test, you may see something like that as a challenge. So you have to know it's only do the next statements. Okay? If there's no curly braces. I would say it's only evaluate the next statements. If it's true, it's going to do. False, not going to do. And then follow by the whatever statements always doing, right? The rest of statements. And this is how you use for. Now, last one is how to use DoWhileLoop, right? So, let's look at syntax again. While and for pretty much the same. Do while give you the same. It can give you the same intention, but the way it's evaluating is not the same. Which you can see at the test too. You have to show what's the difference between while and do while and for, right? Like I said, while and for is the same, but do while actually does a little bit different. But it can give you the same outcome. The difference is, if you look at this, think about when count equals to 11, would you actually say hello at all? Never, because 11 never less than 10. It will never show anything. Okay? But if I copy this whole thing, because it's pretty much similar syntax here, right? The difference is you do first once. You initialize and you do, because do do while, do, you do, and then while you're going to evaluate the expression after you do. So that means I don't care what the value is, if it's true or not. Like count equals to 11, it's still going to say hello at least once. And change your count. And we're going to evaluate your count. Right now, it's going to say 11 less than 10, which is going to exit right away. But it's going to print at least one hello. But this one, it will never get in there because you evaluate first. So that's why I said do first and then evaluate the expressions. Let's do while. So let's test this then. I'm going to write an application again. And this application is going to demonstrate how you do while, right? Now, I'm going to show you, like, if I want to print 1 to 10 with do while, like I said, it's going to give you the same outcome, okay? But the way they're evaluating is different. So, int, it can be count or I equals to the starting point, which is 1, right? 1 to 10. And do, like I said, it's going to do at least once. It's going to do what? Do print system.out dot print I. So it's going to print 1. And then we do increment, right? Change the values I++, and then we start to evaluate the expression while I less than. Now, should I say less than equals to 10? And don't forget you have to put semicolon at the end. Okay, that's the syntax. So we say less than equals to 10. Let's run this program. Print ln, right? So like I said, it's going to give you the same outcome, right? It's going to print 1 to 10. Because when it gets to 9 less than equals to 10, it still go back, right? 9 plus make it 10, it still go back and print 10 once, and then 11, and then 11 less than equals to 10 is exit, right? So that's why I'm still doing that. Like I said, it's going to give you the same outcome, exactly the same outcome. If you compare back to loop, 1 to 10, right? Less than equal to 10, same outcome. But the problem is, if I say I equals to 11, I'm going to compare to loop, okay? So we're going to make 2 programs for you to compare. I'm going to make count equals to 11 too. You see, this will never print anything because 11 less than equals to 10 is false, right? But you see, this will print 11 and then exit. Let's run this one, 11. But this one never print anything. That is the difference. Now, when is the time to use do while and while, right? When you want your application do at least once, you have to do while. Okay? If your application don't care at least once, you just will wait. This is while, right? Now, at least once, this could be applying to if you want to get a user input first for authentication, I want to evaluate at least once. Then you can just do get username, password, evaluate it. And then we can do attempt, like attempt. You can do keep tracking and do attempt. But you evaluate it